All right, everyone. Let's go ahead and move on to our second step in building our cut paper or construction paper hot air balloon. So, yesterday we went through how to kind of transfer what you have outlined on your tracing paper onto this orange construction paper by using that graphite transfer technique. So now that we have this, we're going to move on to like the secondary details of your balloon. So what you're going to want to do is take a look at the different values you have. So the different types of gray and white that you have on your balloon. Obviously, the first time we're doing this, we're kind of working on getting that outline, getting that background done so we have some context for the balloon. But now we want to go ahead and add in some of these details to help our viewer understand that they're looking at a hot air balloon and not, some other type of blobby or balloon shape. So I selected another color. My first color is orange. My second color is going to be this yellowish orange. I chose it specifically on this side because I like the texture that's going on the paper. So we're going to do very much the same thing. We just have to choose what we're going to trace and what we're not going to trace. So because we already have the graphite on the back of the paper, we don't have to do that again. We're just going to go ahead and take our ballpoint pen and we're going to start outlining. And what I'm going to do is include these lighter sections. So I have a white little strip, kind of got a little bit of detail over here that I'm going to include. And you know what? I'm going to include this guy as well. Maybe one of these over here if I'm feeling up to it. So go ahead and put that tracing paper down. And again, we're going to use the pen. I'm using a different color just so I can tell which color I've used for which shape, right? So there's a couple of different areas on here. So now I can tell, okay, my blue pen is going to be representing that secondary color, while my red pen is representing the primary color or the outline of my shape. And so carefully and with a firm hand, I'm going to go through, trace the entirety of our shape. See, oh, I just moved my thing. It's not ideal, but I'm going to try to get it back to exactly where I left it. Notice, right, if you're using two different color pens, you can also see where you have and have not traced. So make sure you take your time, make sure, maybe even tape this down, right, so you don't let it move like I did. There's a little seam, I think, in between these two shapes, so I'm going to go ahead and include that in my drawing. And then I'm going to include the outside of this last spiky shape as well. So we'll see how that turned out. I'm going to stick with those four shapes for now. Maybe leave these other guys over here for a different color. Let's see how we turned out. Okay. Not too bad. I can see, I might have to shuffle around these other guys over here, but I'm just going to map these out so you can see them more clearly. So these are the shapes that I just drew. Now we're using that graphite transfer to, get these shapes from the tracing paper onto our construction paper. Right? Remember, we're dealing with shapes here. We're not dealing with any kind of lines. And the hot air balloon should be a good vehicle for that. You shouldn't really have any lines going on. You should have whole shapes, right? It's going to be very difficult to cut a line out of construction paper, whereas if you cut a shape out of construction paper, that should be a little bit more, user-friendly. You shouldn't have really any troubles with that. So we do have these spikes get a little thin down here at the bottom, but that's okay. Just want to make sure that however thin, we are dealing with shapes and not with single thin lines, right? So those are the details that I got from my blue section over here. Now my job is to cut these out and overlay them on top of my orange hot air balloon, which I'll cut out and show you guys in a later video. All right, so this is kind of our first color. This is our second color. You know, we're gonna need another third color to get all the details that are over here on the balloon, and maybe even a fourth to get kind of the finishing touches, but I think 3 colors is usually enough, and we'll talk about that in the next video. Thank you.